How's it going, guys? And welcome to the first ever Old School RuneScape streamer design session. This was a very spontaneous idea we had to allow some of our favorite streamers to come into the office and design a potential new room to come with Raids 2, which is released next year. By that, I mean they could create a brand new demi-boss, incredibly difficult monster challenge, or puzzle room that has no combat whatsoever. So we'll see what they can get up to. They've got 1 hour. As you can, I'm sure, recognize all these faces, I do not need to introduce these guys. I'm going to give them the DDSs. Here you go.
Thank you.
That was for Wooks. All right. And, I'll leave you guys to it. Enjoy.
All right, so first up, boss room or puzzle room is what we're thinking.
Boss room.
Boss room is really hard to do though, because like it'd have to be good. Puzzle room would be easy. Just have like
it depends on what puzzle you want to go for. I want to do a boss room, and I really want Luke's to like build the concept of it and like put something really challenging in there. Like
I think either a boss room or a room that's to do with like a time limit. So if you don't do it within the time, then everybody gets reset and dies or something like that.
Yep.
So that way you're always under pressure and you always have to communicate, because Raids 2, if you think about it, it's going to be one of those pieces of content where teamwork is everything, and you've got 5 players all need to talk to each other. So if it's like a time limit based thing and you don't do everything right, then everybody just loses.
It's making me think of Barbarian Assault when your defender is garbage and everything gets past.
That's true.
And I feel that's going to end some friendships.
That's true. So
I think we should. Does anyone actually want to do a puzzle room at all? Or do you want to do a boss room?
Puzzles are really hard to do.
Had an idea for
I've got a concept for like either, right? Obviously this is to do with vampires, right? And the first thing that comes to mind is bats. And I'm thinking a time limit as well, where it could be a puzzle room, where you have to work as a team to try and figure it out. And at the same time there's a bunch of bats coming in, and it's forming into a boss in the centre of the room. And as soon as it becomes like fully grown, everybody dies. So whatever the room is, you need to figure it out in a certain amount of time, or everybody just gets wiped out.
Or it could like be forming the boss, and depending how hard it is at the end, that's what you have to fight. So you could like scale down this boss as much as possible by the time it forms it.
Yep.
I
so
don't like that idea.
A puzzle
That's
room,
a good idea.
or it could be a boss. Something to do with bats, I don't know. Just came into my head earlier. I was like, that's good.
I do like the idea of the boss scales up, but then depending how effective or like how good coordination you have with your team,
that's how hard it would be.
You can do everything quite quickly. It's like, an example could be in the gargoyle boss, you know, the orbs that go on the floor. They go from like 2 damage to 10 damage to 20 damage. So this boss could grow to like, I don't know, maximum level of something that can hit X amount. But if you do everything really well, you can bring it to like an absolute minimum level where it's still quite strong, but nowhere near like the maximum. But then there's also
I had an idea before where it was like the bat concept, but except you have like a room and there's like blood coming out points of the room, and you have to patch those up, and that forms like maybe like a blood thing in the middle, like a blood monster or something in the end.
Either that or it's the player's blood. Like the bat is taking the player's blood, so you're losing health, and the bat is getting bigger.
Or you like fly out of this like pipe and bite you, and then like the blood in the middle or some shit. I'm not to swear, am I?
Oh man.
So what do we want to go with? Do we want to go with blood or bats?
You could combine them together though.
Yeah,
the bat could like feast on blood.
Yep.
Vampire bat.
So we're thinking like a square room for this kind of stuff. Well, yeah. Like
I'm thinking square. I don't know, man.
Square room.
Well, it's meant to be like a theatre, so it could be like
a theatre,
so you walk in. Like
oh, you've got to be like blokes watching around edge and stuff.
If it's a square room, like nothing inside, there's no safe spots, they'll just come up.
So we're thinking these bats come at like certain points in the room then, and how would you like stop these bats from forming together in the middle?
First thing, if it's bats,
I'm not sure.
If it's bats, are we going range and mage only? So melee will be useless in this room, or
because maybe you have to do like a certain combat style to take out these bats.
Because if they're flying, you could maybe make a halberd worth something.
I was just thinking making use of like ice barrage, blood barrage and stuff, taking it back to the theme and stuff, and like.
I think it'd be better without combat, to be honest with you, because I mean, you could have like the first section be a puzzle, you fail the puzzle, or depending on how well you do the puzzle, you fight a boss, and then the boss has all the mechanics.
I don't know. Can we come up with a puzzle on the spot? I can't do.
Well, the puzzle could just be like I don't know, like the idea of like bats flooding in or something and taking the blood, or blood. How would blood drain from your body without something taking it off you though? That doesn't just happen, you know. You got malaria or something.
You could bring blood barrage into it somehow, but I don't know how you could bring it round. Because obviously, if you're the one getting blood barrage, maybe we're being attacked with blood barrage.
The theatre, all the people around the edge could be blood barraging you up down there, taking your blood for the boss. And
it heals it. Which means you'd have to DPS it down as fast as possible, though, which kind of changes things. Because we put loads of ideas out now, but which one should we go with? Because I do like that. So you'd need high mage defense in the room, potentially protect from mage, or something that can just bring it down so you have to pay attention the whole time. And then you're losing health as the boss increases health. I like that concept. And then you've got to DPS it down, and then we'll just add something else to it.
What about if we made it like a puzzle and a boss room, right? So I'm thinking like a maze.
It's a bit like the Ice Demon where you have to do the skilling bit before, and then you fight the boss after.
So boring.
Yeah.
The whole team goes in, and there's different puzzles. For example, it might just be something as simple as stand on this square, but everyone has to do it in a specific order. And if somebody messes up, everybody takes damage. So you're losing supplies, and there's like a boss in the middle, and like the less damage you take by the time you get there, the weaker the boss will be. Obviously, if you mess up on every single step along the way, the boss is going to be insane. Like
and then drain all your supplies for the rest of the room, yeah.
That could be like a spotlight, you know, theatre spotlights. So if you're not on that spot.
Yeah. It could be as simple as just standing on a square, and if somebody messes up, everybody gets hurt, so you lose supplies, and the boss gets stronger. Something like that.
So this could be, as an example of that one, 5 random squares.
Yeah.
But every square has to have a player on in a very short period of time. Yeah. So if there's 2 players that go towards one square.
So how about a room where it's all about reactions? So everybody has to be on a square at the same time, and if not, it drains health from you and gives it to the boss, and that increases its power level by the end.
Yeah.
So how much time? Because
the more damage you take, the stronger the boss gets. I mean, there could be something.
So it's like that reaction game where you have that board, and it's like lights coming up. You have to like tap them as fast as possible.
Yeah.
But this is to do with like running to the tiles. Everyone has to stand on the tile, otherwise it drains you and gives it to the boss in the middle.
Exactly, and there could be loads of different ones. There could be one where like I'm thinking Cerberus. You know, you've got different colours that come, and it's a different thing. You could have like a different. I'm going with bats again. I don't know why I'm obsessed with bats, but I'm thinking there could be different coloured bats. And you have to protect against it or something like that, I don't know. And like maybe it drains more blood. I don't know, I'm just thinking off the top of the head. I like bats. You know.
I mean, a bat
I just think it's
concept.
suited. I think it's well suited because it's to do with vampires, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's true.
The thing with that though, again, with the gargoyle boss that just came out, very similar to a bat. Do want something brand new.
True.
What about, I don't know how you could fit this in, but the idea of like theatre and trapdoors and stuff, so if you're not on a specific spotlight one, then there's like a trapdoor that like loses health or something, or loses your health. That's the only other thing I come up with that's.
Well, you'd have to like fall down it, then you won't with a group, would you?
That's where you could bring the blood barrage in with the actual squares. The entire room could be blood barraged, apart from said safe spots.
Yeah.
So that we can. I think we should probably put that down.
Oh, how about this, right? How about this? You stand on these squares that are lit up with darkness, and then the audience can see everywhere else, but if you're in these spots of dark, they can't hit you.
That's what I was thinking, like the concept of this room is,
so you don't take
when you
any
first walk
damage
into the room, there's this boss here, it looks really weak, but then all of the room starts getting dark, you have to stand on these tiles that are light. If all the players are on the tiles, then the boss gains no health or power. So by the end of the room, depending on how many people miss, that will drain your health and give it to the boss and then give it power. That's what you have to fight at the end.
So you're saying the tiles are light, and you're saying they're dark.
Yeah, they should be dark though.
Or
well,
dark.
if you want to do the like audience mechanic or
so blood barrage and give it to the boss.
Yeah. So if you stood in the dark, then they can't see you. So they
and it's all about reaction and timing. So
yeah,
you'd have to run to that tile in time, otherwise.
The whole blood barrage thing is just kind of like a background thing. That doesn't even matter. The mechanic would be just standing in the square.
Yeah.
Yeah, the blood barrage would just heal the bosses to make it harder. So I think the blood barrage mechanic we should definitely do. I like that. It means you need mage defense or just do everything perfectly.
Or maybe like the boss is powerful enough even without the health, but the blood barrage would give it more health by the end of the fight. So say it could start with like say 1000 HP, depending on how much you get drained. Scale that, add it to the boss, and that's how much health it would have at the end.
I think it's good. I like that.
I like the idea. Yeah.
You should make it so like if you actually mess up on every single little puzzle bit, the boss is just like almost unkillable.
He's got to leave
like
the
it will literally just one hit you, like just to punish the people who mess up.
Because the thing is like, how big could this room be? And how many ticks would it take to get to a tile?
It can't be that big if you want it to be a reaction.
If you wanted it to be like difficult, you would have to make it so as soon as the tile would appear, you'd have to be like near to tick permit to run to it, otherwise you'd get drained, and that would give it to the boss.
There'd be ping problems.
Yeah, that's the only thing. The problem with ping and stuff.
That could just ruin the entire room if there's issues like that.
Yeah.
Like it'd just be dead content.
Rest in peace, the Aussies. I'm not gonna like this one.
This is the anti-Aussie room.
Yeah.
Anyone else get anything to chip in to that concept, Alex?
I like that concept, and then it's the issue with.
I mean, does anyone have any other ideas?
I might have another idea if I can get the pen.
Yep.
Go on, son.
Swap places so you can start writing.
I'm blessed. In the previous seat. Field power bonus.
Got the warmth of whoosh.
Here we go.
I was thinking about quite difficult mechanic that I came up with. So we have the RuneScape grid system here. So everything is squares. So the boss would stand somewhere in the middle, and it would shoot pools of blood at you. So it could, if you're standing right here, it would shoot here, and then you would have to move away from those. Otherwise, if you stand in those, it would drain your health, and the boss would gain health. And there is another thing that I was thinking about. So let's say you move here, the boss shoots another pool right here, and I was thinking that the pools can go together and spread out. So whenever there's an empty square that has 2 pools next to each other, it would then fill out the middle one. So you'd have to be really careful with the positioning of the pools. So you could mess this up quite easily, because you see right now there's 3 in a row. So if you accidentally put one here, then this has 2 right next to it, so this becomes here, and this has 2 next to it, so this would fill up, and all of this would fill up very quickly. So you have to be really careful about your positioning of all the poles, and I think that could make it really challenging. So yeah, at the same time you would have to move around with some other mechanic.
Could you not like implement that idea into our idea? And if you
So it's kind of like an idea where it's draining, it drains you, then it goes
like,
into the boss at the end.
And you could legit combine those 2
Yeah.
ideas
Yeah.
with the reaction mechanic, and then if you mess up on the original idea, it will connect them together, and then the whole room will just be.
Because if you
really
think
hard.
about it, like there's a mechanic at Ulm where you have to run to the health pools, and it's the exact same thing we were talking about here.
Yeah.
But you could make that probably just a little bit faster, because the Ulm gives you like enough time to run to it, and it's like all spread out.
Yeah, with that one, how would you say the best way to tackle it would be? Like players in the corners of the room?
I would say, like,
blinking.
you know how you get the teleport mechanic where you get a colour coordinated to another player? You could have like a tile certain colour, and you'd have like a thing under you saying you have to run, this colour has to run to that colour, for example. And if you're not on the tile, obviously it drains you and gives it to the boss.
If we're going with that, how big would the room be?
Exactly.
How big do we think this room should be? Like how big is 15 by 15?
The question is, how big can the room be?
15 by 15
That's a
is
good point,
massive.
Jim. How big can the room be?
Well, so you could see it, because if it's too large, then you cannot see, you know, the tiles that are far away, like 15 tiles away.
You can't even see like the entire Vasa room sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Like it has to load in, so it's got to be smaller than something like that. Everything's quite small, I think.
Is there a way to take away the blood so that you can kind of buy back some time and like somehow
You
get
could
rid
blood
of it?
barrage the middle bit and take blood back off it.
Just thinking, because otherwise you'd need like an infinitely big room, depending on how your RNG is and how well you hit. Because if you don't hit quickly and stuff, and then the room fills up with blood, and you need more time, is there a way to redeem it at all?
I guess it could shoot a certain amount of blood pools to you. So if you put like the blood in like the best position, then it wouldn't really fill up, and the boss would stop using that attack.
How would it work if all 5 players stood on the same square for the first one, and then they all move to the next square, so it follows them, but because all 5 are there, it'd be one there, they'd start connecting one by one, rather than 5 coming at once, split over the room?
Well, the boss would attack one person at once.
It'd be only one.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of good for like when you're streaming with like a group of people, you can flame the guy who messes up.
Be good. And then what happens? It just damages you if you stood in it.
Yeah, and it tells the boss. So if the whole room fills up, you basically lost a kill.
Are we actually combining both, or just going with the top idea right now? I'm lost.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused, not gonna lie.
Yeah, where does the boss come onto this bit here? So we have the tiles. So where would the boss be in the room? Say you've got the tiles there.
So you'd have like a certain size room. Let's say the boss is 3 by 3. So you'd have like the 3 by 3 in the middle. Just you can't stand there, and then everything around it maybe. But then if you build a wall of it, you've like cut off your south end. You have to go to the north side and try not to build another wall, because you'd have to move, I think, bit by bit upwards and then build the wall behind you. So you'd start by the entrance to the room, I think, and obviously as the wall starts building, you move up the room. So the first half of the room would be completely covered, and then you're in the second half, which is completely free, as you move slowly towards the end of it, and by the time the boss is dead, half the room's filled, but you're on the other half of the room, so you don't get touched once. That's how I think you'd do it.
I think it'd be interesting to see 5 people trying to manipulate that, like whether they'd all just, you know, stand in a line, or whether they'd stand on top of each other, like how they'd get around that. Because you'd obviously want to use as little space as possible. You wouldn't really want to be spread out, because then you're going to have more connecting squares. I think it'd be interesting.
Yeah, because if it's one person being attacked, and they're dropping the blood, let's say every tick, that person just has to not attack the boss and just walk himself round in the deadest places possible, and sort of just keep building it slowly as the other 4 people kill the boss. Is it sort of that?
Well, I was thinking that the boss maybe would rotate around the players, so it would attack them in certain order, so players would know when they have to stand somewhere that isn't close to another blood.
A previous one.
Yeah.
I like it. Anyone else got anything?
I'm too stupid to like follow this right now.
Can the boss be a bat?
Sorry?
Can the boss be a bat?
Wait, I mean, that bad. The rotation could fly around, so there you go. Yeah, big bat, sorted.
So yeah, if there's 5 people in the room, depends how fast it is. I don't know. Dalek, you said nothing. Come on.
I mean, if it only attacks one person, then it doesn't use everybody. But if every person is targeted, then they've got to focus on avoiding it and avoiding each other. Otherwise, you're going to kill your friends and get flames.
So it's coordination, isn't it? Do you want to wait? We need to work out how big the room can be. Then we could draw it up there and work out how much.
Think about how
space
big a
you want.
max room is in raids. You don't want it to be. Do you want it to be like out the distance? So you have to run somewhere else, or can you see the whole room in one line of sight? It would be nice to see like the whole room without the loading screen in between, because that would be so AIDS.
So what have we actually decided on right now? Like, just to get it straight, are we combining these, or we're going with Wook's idea?
I think they can be combined in a way, but it's you take the tile thing, but then you do the how instead of you have to be stood on the tile, you meant to not be stood on the tile, and it moves like that. So it's like the first idea, but instead of
Because this concept is slightly different to that one, because that one you're basically trying to avoid certain tiles,
yeah, I think
so you
they're
don't.
opposites.
Yeah, yeah. This one is basically the boss wouldn't be attacking you at the start; it would be invulnerable. So you would have to run to the tiles, and if you wasn't on a tile when it's drained you, then it would add health to the boss at the end.
Well, you could
After
be
a certain
fighting
amount
at
of-
the same
yeah.
time, and having to do the reaction thing at the same time, making it very hard. And then have the Wook's thing where it will just fill up if you keep messing up. And do that all at the same time. That could actually make a raids room. It could be
So
really
you're
interesting.
saying, I like that actually.
Yeah, yeah. So if you miss a tile and you get drained that tile then fills up, for example. So say if, obviously you miss there, that would fill up there, but then you'd miss a tile there and that would fill up that one as well. I don't know.
Can you do both? Boss is invulnerable at the start, X health,
Yeah.
maybe 50% health, everyone stands on the tiles, and then when the boss is no longer invulnerable, it does the other one.
Yeah.
So you can do both of them.
And that would be a super long boss room as well then. You have to
Like,
incorporate
you could
both.
probably make it, I don't know. I can't remember how long they said Raids 2 was meant to be, but
Yeah, I have no idea.
maybe a couple of minutes. Depending on the boss's defense as well.
You could make it look super low defense if it takes ages to kill. That's not really a problem. You can just like balance it around that. I like this idea. Has anyone got anything against it?
Are we all agreeing on a bat?
Oh yeah.
Are we keeping Tom happy?
Yeah. That is doable.
Is it a
Or just
humanoid
build-
bat or is
just
it just
build
like
one
a
then.
bat?
Huh?
Could be a humanoid bat.
It could be like a big. You
Could
know,
be Batman.
So it could be like the bats from the Firewatch areas. It could be a big one of them. I don't know. Big
Yeah.
local wings.
Yeah, it's one that's like really weak and that's been left there for ages,
Yeah,
and,
it's like
then,
on
and then you send in the
floor,
feast,
withering and stuff.
and because it's
Yeah,
getting
it
drained
gets-
and it's
yeah, it
getting more
gets
powerful.
stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, the way it's going to work then. So the concept would be you enter the room, all 5 players would enter the room, let's say at
There's
the
this
same
massive,
time.
hungry, ancient bat that's been there for
Right in the
ages,
middle.
and it's
Yeah.
really weak, and you have to
Yeah.
run to the tiles in time, otherwise you get drained and it would feed the bat, and then by the end it would be released to you, and then you have to fight it.
Yeah, and then when it's released and you're fighting it, that's when the second mechanic comes
Yeah.
in, where it starts filling up the game depending where you're stood. So the first one you want to get the right places, the second one you want to try and build it so there's not blood everywhere.
Yeah.
I think it
I
would.
think that would make a solid raids boss to be fair.
Yeah, it'd be
It's not a
pretty good,
terrible
actually.
idea. Yeah, it would be good. I like it.
Make Torvest the draw.
Alex, let's go.
Art skills.
I'll try and explain it if you want. What I think it should look like. Come on.
Draw the bat. What does the boss look like?
Draw a bat.
No, you're not drawing a bar. I'm just gonna. Oh wait, are we actually drawing the
Can
actual
you draw
bar?
the entire animation for us, please? The entire
Who's
sequence.
the best artist on this team?
Not me.
I can draw
Definitely.
circles and squares.
I can't
represent
draw.
them.
I mean, I think I drew a cow
No,
once.
I'll try draw. What
It's
do you want me
stick
to
legs,
draw?
man. It's terrible.
I was just going to draw the outline of the actual boss room, how it would work. That's how I think it's quite simple.
I mean,
I'm not drawing a
combine that. Who can combine those together? Because I'm really.
Well, if it's a tile-based
It'd be the
system, it'd be a
same as that
square
bit.
room, wouldn't it?
That's sort of just the mechanics. So the one at the bottom is
That would be the start.
it's 5
To
tiles.
give the boss its power
Yeah.
or its health, and then that would kick in, and then you have to not fill up the room.
Yeah, so it's like a 2-phase boss.
Yeah.
So the first phase, you
It's all about reaction
are
speed.
basically doing that to keep how powerful the boss is. The better you do that, the weaker the boss.
Yeah.
Second phase, that'll still exist, but obviously even way weaker. Like that could hit you if you ever could get hit by like a 4.
So this
if you
means
put it
this
perfectly.
room could be super long or super short depending on how you do the first bit, and that's how you get like raid records based on how good your reactions would be on the first part, and then
If it's just healing
if you do
hit
it
points, yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
you could kill it faster. And then obviously the more health it has, the harder that second phase will actually be as well. Right, Alex, let's get drawing.
What do you want me to draw the finished product?
Draw.
This is what the boss is gonna look like.
This is what I think the room should look like as a concept.
should get rid of this.
No, I'm gonna draw the boss.
Oh, you're gonna draw the
You
boss?
can draw
Okay.
the- Right, so this is the finished product.
Loot.
Wait, what's on his back?
Right, so,
Some sticky level.
wait, can you see?
So this is the boss.
This is the finished product.
Mate, look, 10 times better than what I draw, to be fair. You know, bats only have like 2 teeth on each side. This guy's got a full set.
Wait,
Oh no, he's
I
doing
don't think
the
they can see
pupils.
it.
God, why did you do the
Is that-
pupils, man?
Keep it hidden. Keep it hidden.
Can I see it?
It's like one of those games where we're playing that game right now where we guess the image. What is it? Picture graph.
Right, so that's the finished product.
It's
And it's gonna be released next
Straight with the head,
Thursday.
mate.
Right, now it's on the boss room. Oh no.
Oh, no. What's that?
Boss room.
Right, I'll draw the boss room. This is how I think the boss room should look. So if anyone sort of misunderstood where I came from, I have no sticker on my back, right?
Name the involvement of Golbat.
Of Golbat? Ah.
After Golbat, isn't that?
No. Wait, does it go Zubat then Golbat?
Yeah, and after Golbat.
It's Crobat.
Mate, some guy said I've got a
What's
flat
it?
head.
Crobats.
Crobats?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Zubat, Golbat, Crobat.
That's Crobat.
Okay.
He's got a flat head. What does that mean? He's not flat.
Right.
So that would be the boss there in the middle. you
So
think?
the boss is a 3x3 square in the middle, similar size to a black demon, let's say. Dead in the middle, so everything on the other sides is all equal squares, all the way around, whole room being a square. So let's say you've got, I don't know, 8 squares there maybe. So the whole room there would be 19 squares long. Don't know if that's possible, by the way. But basically the boss would just be dead in the center, and it wouldn't move at any point in the fight. Similar to something, what is it? The winter demon in Rage
Yeah.
just stands in the same
I
place the
imagine
whole
like
time.
at the start when you first go in, like it would just be there weak, and then it had like loads of bats around it, so it's invulnerable. So that's on the tile bit, and then after it'd be released, then it would start to attack you, but stay in the middle.
Yeah, so you'd walk in, whole team of 5 would walk in, it would start, and it'd be like, I don't know, 6 seconds
Yeah.
to start so it doesn't waste too much time. And then it would spawn, everyone would split up, you can't run through it. It'd spawn like
Tiles. Now
5 tiles.
Now
like
the
that.
problem with that is people would try to run to the same tile. So I think
That's
to
where the
force people
communication
to
comes in.
I think to force people to different tiles, like it would be color coordinated. So you'd have a green ring under, you'd have to run to the green circle.
That could be added, I like
Because
that.
otherwise everyone would just run to the same tile, but like with the Olm pools, and they wouldn't split out.
chat in this stream? I like the idea, if you walk in this room, similar to Barber's Soul, everyone has a colour.
Yeah, around them.
If the chat likes that, because then you'd have your own specific one, but what if you're stood here and then your colour comes up there? You kind
Then
of screwed.
unfortunate, mate, you know.
Because that'd be a bit of RNG to it, which
Just
obviously
make
might
it
make
where
the
it
boss
like
a bit
spawns
harder.
within like 10 squares here or something. Or like 5 or something.
But
It's
if you
fine,
think
but-
about it, they could make it so it's always possible to reach the other side of the room as long as you're tick perfect to make it difficult, or a few ticks out.
Everyone could also start somewhere in the middle, so they're closer to all the corners.
True.
Yeah. So what I think with that is the 5 tile thing for the first phase of the boss would happen 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
They'd change constantly. And then after those 5, if you've done them all
Yeah, maybe the
perfectly-
colour under you could change as well. So like you're green one time, you have to run to the green tile, then you suddenly change
So
to white, and then you see
confusing.
confusing. Yeah.
I don't know if that'd be too difficult though.
Well, not really, because you're just looking for basically a white tile on the floor.
Well, the other
Avoid the
option
brain.
is that like it's like a really weak stage floor, And so you have to stand on one of them, but you can only have one person under each one. So they have to talk to each other and say, I'm going to go to the most
That'll be
northern.
even more
That's the
confusing.
idea I thought, is if you take all the colours out, 5 spawn, 5 players, player 1 and 2 are here, player 3's here, player 4's here, player 5's here, split. Player 1 and 2 can't both go to that one, they need to go to whichever one. So player 3 obviously goes to that one, player 4 go to that one, so player 5 will go to that one, player 2 has to go to that one. And then assuming they've got time,
That could work as well, and then maybe if like there's 2 people at one tile, not coordinate, then they would get hit anyway, because they'd overdo the tile.
yes, I don't know if that can be coded, but that's that, and then that happens 5 times, so when that happens, they all disappear off the floor, but you want to change it so it's like a minimum amount of time, so it's like as soon as you get your square, a new one appears, there's no like pause, just the next one spawns somewhere, and you've got to get to the next one. 5 times in the case of, I don't know, 30, 40 seconds of real time, and then phase 2 starts. And then obviously if you do that perfectly, the boss doesn't heal too much health because you're on that certain
That would be
square.
really quick if it just did only 5. So maybe it could do like 1, 2, 3, then second phase 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It could do like 4 times or something, rather than just having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then it's the boss. You know what I mean?
I'm just thinking five squares spawn.
Yeah.
Bam. Everyone tries to get to it. If you fail it, you take damage. The next one spawns straight away. Repeat, 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 repeat. 5 times, and that's phase 1. The boss now has its health, and then it starts attacking you. You can now DPS the boss down. And then the other mechanic comes in where certain squares become, you can't stand there anymore, so you have to sort of work out where to stand to actually make an area inside the actual game where you can kill it. Which I think is good. I don't know about the chat. I've been speaking for a while.
What should we call it?
Move it along, mate.
Name-wise, how long do we have? 20 minutes.
Batinator?
Well, let's talk about more about Wooks' bit now, because I think everybody needs to understand that.
That's phase 1. Does
that
everyone
part's-
understand phase 1?
Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
That's
Everyone's got
pretty
it.
straightforward.
Right.
Now this is when the boss comes out. So you
I shouldn't have. Yeah,
so
keep that.
now it would be attackable, and it'd be attacking you as well.
So now, yeah,
So how
boss,
was the
it
target?
stays exactly where it is. The whole room is, again, completely open. So if I delete all of these, but the 5 players are still randomly in this room. So let me just get this. This board is going to fall. I'm not happy with it. So let's just put player 1 here. 2, 3, 4, and 5. So they're split out, so there's coordination. Now, what I think you mean by this part is the boss will hit someone, one person,
Yeah.
at a time. So let's say it hits player 1. That square becomes the blood.
Yes. And then he would attack 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then 5, and then go in the same order.
And then repeat. So after 5, how fast would he attack?
It depends on how fast you kill him.
Do
Because
you not think it'd
you
be harder if it was random rather than going in a circle? Because then people would hope we just got AFK till it's their turn again.
Again, there'll probably be an animation on the actual thing that might make it a bit easier to see that. So then, let's say everyone's split up, but this entire area, if they stood in the exact corner, is all just blood at this point. So player 1 has to be stood here, repeat for the corners,
Yeah, it just
and then maybe
smalls the
player
room.
4 had to cut this part off. All of this area, I think,
You just take
is
damage
blood
if you
that's
just stand there.
damaged. So now the arena is smaller. Is it sort of like that?
Kinda. I was thinking we might need a bit more move mechanic, because if I can show again. So the idea that I explained before was that so here's the grid system in RuneScape. So if you put blood here, then blood here, it would obviously fill up the one that's in the middle. But one thing you could do is you could put blood here and then next to it as well, so it wouldn't really fill up anything because there's no square that has 2 blood next to it. So you can kind of fill it
So
up
if it's
like
like
that.
two
That's
spots,
a
it'll just
smart
like
way of
create a
doing it.
flow between them.
But the problem with this is that it can be easy to mess up, because if you put blood here, then it would this one comes next to 2 ones.
Yeah.
And this one comes next
So what
to
would
it.
happen then if,
So
like, say,
it
if the blood
just
lands on
builds
you?
up everything here if you mess up. So there's like different methods for it.
Would you have to like not stand on the tile of blood then? So
Are they permanent?
Yeah, I would say so. Until
think
you
you
wouldn't
yeah.
have to stand in it after because it would damage you.
That's what I'm saying. Because I think
That's what I'm trying to
if it-
understand. Like, what would force? Because the players could just stand there the whole time on this tile of blood. They have
It'd
to
be
move away
like,
from it.
I think if you did it really bad, the whole room would be full of blood, and it's like being in Dead Man Fog. You're just constantly taking damage. The boss dies, boom, room done, it just disappears. So you want to try and do it efficiently so that only minimal places are actually filled with the thing, which I think is sort of like that. If people stand in the corners and do it correctly, the arena just gets smaller and smaller. And obviously when the boss is dead, you just leave. So would you say with that mechanic, it'd be best, like a proper way to do it would be players would be stood in the corners for the very first one, and then move inwards?
Well, yeah, obviously, because you can place the blood like this, I think we need some more mechanic that makes the players move around a bit more. Just because...
you just take one step.
You take one step, it just fills up one square otherwise.
What other mechanic could we add to keep people moving while that's happening, where it's not just going to fill the entire arena up, while they're also killing the boss? So depending on the size of the room, depends, because if you're using, say, a blowpipe, I think it's like 5 or 6 tiles, say that's 8 across, you'd have to hit him from here, so you can't just stand on the wall, assuming you're blowpiping it.
Well, yeah, if there's 5 players and the boss attacks every 4 ticks, he would attack the same player every 20 ticks, because it goes in order. So you can kind of run out whenever you get attacked and then run back in.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I get that.
I get it now, but now it's just figuring out some way to keep them moving, because otherwise it would attack player 1, they'd make a tile, he would just move 1 tile out of it, move to player 2, attack him, and then he'd have like 5 tiles.
Yeah, if it was on that though, say it was every 20 ticks it attacked, couldn't you time it perfectly and step on your previous one as it hits you, and it would just be on the same square?
Well, no, if you stand on a blood while he's attacking, you would have to use something else, I think.
Like a really powerful thing, so you can't do it?
Yeah, I think so.
I like that, that's good. What else is there? How does it attack?
I mean, there's the boss who's going to have like a normal attack. He's just going to have, he's not just going to be sat there doing note, right?
Unless it's only the environment that's going to be damaging you.
That'd be kind of boring, though, I think.
Because then obviously if the boss is attacking constantly everyone and just putting all the fog out there, or the blood, is there anything else to it? Because if it's purely just the environment, what happens if you do the first part perfectly and kill the second boss? Like, kill it immediately, the room could be over in like 60 seconds, you move on, it's dead easy.
I think the boss should probably fight back as well.
What attack style?
I don't know.
Probably just
Maybe probably be a range and mage.
Yeah.
Let's
range
do a
and
group attack where like it
well,
can just blood barrage all 5
a bat
players
that's
at
standing in
once.
the middle and can't move, it's going to be range or mage, isn't it? It's not going to swipe you if you get, or maybe if you get close to it, it can swipe you. I don't know.
Yeah, because I think the best way to do it is you maintain the whole blood rehealing thing, and then during the actual kill.
Maybe you can just like send bats at you.
Right,
Yeah,
so
could
do
do.
we think during the fight there should be the possibility of someone standing on, say, a tile, which then re-heals the bat? Because I'm thinking, because it's a bat, it should be able to fly, but if we want to keep people moving, we can have it that once it's so low, it goes down into the ground like it was weak again, and then you start to melee it, because it's weak to melee, and then obviously if anyone messes up while that's happening, it can go back up in the air and you have to range it again. I don't know, I'm just throwing that out there maybe.
So it's going to definitely be range and mage. No melee in the actual fight, unless that happens.
I'm just thinking, if you want people to keep moving around, it'd be cool as well if like it was weak to melee at certain points when it's on the ground, when it's weak, and then when it's up in the air it's strong and you have to range it to get back down. Something like that, I don't know. Like maybe if you stand on a tile or something like that, maybe spikes come up and it like gets blood again and gets more health.
I like the idea of when it gets weak, it falls down, then you melee. That's a good idea, I think. But I mean, why would it fall down?
And while that's happening, if they're still putting the blood beneath a certain player, that player would not be meleeing it, they'd step away, just to a completely dead square, and then obviously it switches, so you'd rotate, so it'd be 4 people meleeing, 1 stood away, and then obviously when he's took his hit of blood, they switch, and just repeat that. That's what I'm sort of picturing. So I'm trying to think if it's possible to do it where you're not just you're guaranteed to take some damage. Like, I think we're building a room here where you can do it without taking any damage at all.
That's a good thing, I think.
Assuming it's executed perfectly.
Yeah.
But then it could be a solved room as well. One strategy that just is perfect for the whole thing.
Well, if it's hard to do, then that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, that one, no. Because it costs no food or supplies to a skilled team. I think you could probably solve the room pretty quickly. Like, of where you should be standing at certain points if you were just given all the information.
Yeah. I think for skilled players, like, if they're able to do it really well and efficiently, because this is going to be really hard to coordinate with 5 players, if they do it really well, they should be able to do it with very minimal damage, but make it so difficult to the point where it's unlikely that's going to happen. Like, chances are somebody is going to mess up, you know?
My guy's getting roasted.
Is there any kind of item that would help in this room? Like, is there anything you can think of that is related to blood or something like that that would actually help you out?
Does the Rod of Ivandis do anything?
I don't know.
Because I know they have the flail.
Dead content.
Because if it's the vampire, vampires are weak to something. I'm sorry, but it's like silver potions or something weird.
I don't think there'd really be items to take down the boss.
Yeah,
The boss would be pretty easy to take down. It's just more about.
No specific item for the.
Because like, what would happen if you say stood on a tile that was already there? Would it drain your health and give it back to the boss?
Yes.
And say if like the whole room fills up with tiles, why would that be game over? Is it because the whole
It wouldn't be
tiles
game
then drain
over. I
it?
think if a team doesn't do it correctly, the whole room you're just taking damage similar to Deadman Fog, so it just destroys your supplies, but you can still kill the boss. So if you were to just, you could literally just attack the boss and just tank everything if you want to. You can still kill it, but your supplies will just be diminished completely. So if you do it perfectly, you lose almost no supplies. That's what I'm thinking.
I think garlic should reduce damage by half. Well, garlic, innit? Vampires are weak to garlic. It just be kind of funny, expert raid teams bringing a garlic with them. I don't know.
Sick. It would be sick.
One garlic.
Just take one garlic. And
They take
one
the
with
steak
Ruby
in from the Capturino quest.
Or you'd have like one guy on a team who's just like the designated garlic guy who brings like 20 garlics with him. Just shares them all out.
Once he's done, he just leaves the raid, that's it. The people split the reward.
Probably a bad idea.
Alright, we need opinions from people who've not put an input yet.
Yeah.
So what are you thinking so
What
far?
are we thinking so far of the idea?
Let's go around. Let's start with Davidas. What's your initial?
I mean, I didn't understand like half of it because it's like mathematical and
Yeah.
all that. So
I'm still trying to get my head around the second bit, but
Yeah.
I kind of get the concept.
The second bit.
Oh yeah, and the colors. Like, there's gonna be some colorblind people as well. So maybe like shapes on the tiles or something instead of.
Well,
colors.
you can have colourblind mode. Like they'll be able to do that, right? We have a colourblind mode on the game.
We do.
Do we not?
Do we?
I'm pretty sure they did a change recently, made it like colourblind.
Well, for Cerberus, they brought in like the weapons for them.
Yeah.
There's colorblind
I
mode
think
for.
they can probably figure that out. To be fair.
They could just have it in the chat like they do it at home. Because it tells you like range
Yeah.
style attack or whatever. Alright.
I thought-
Actually, that wouldn't make sense. No.
Are we not going, like, you know, on Alm, it drops like the turquoise circles. It's like 2 of them, and the whole team has to get on it.
Yeah.
With this one, why not just drop 5 of them, and everyone just chooses one, no colours, no anything, just grab the closest one to you.
Yeah.
And then obviously, if there's 2 players that suddenly two right next to each other, and 2 players go to that, and then there's 2 more split, they have to make the decision of which to go to.
I think that's better because that means people have to like be really coordinated with it. So you'd have to be like, I'm going northwest. Anything that goes in the northwest corner, I'm on it. And then everybody would have their own location. Whereas if we make it like color coordinated, it's basically the same as it is in Ulm, pretty much. So if we did it like that, it's gonna require the team to like be talking a hell of a lot and be communicating and be like, I'm going in this side of the map, you go in this side, I'll stay here, for example, and then they just go to the closest one that spawns.
So it's a bit like the grotesque guardian mechanic where she throws out the orbs and you'll have to run to it and grab an orb, otherwise it heals.
Is that the gargoyle boss?
Yeah,
That's what I was
exactly.
going to say. I think the animation should be 5 of them go out, so you can see where to run to in advance. Because otherwise, if you just take the corners and there's constantly one going to you, say 5 of them move to one corner, if they just appear, you're not going to have time to run from northwest to southeast. But if you can see the animations, your team can call it, they're all going to go
Because
southeast.
the only problem with that, if like, say if 2 orbs go together, then one player would be able to grab 2 orbs, and like, say player 5 wouldn't have any input. That's why I'm thinking, if it forces them to
So you
stand
wouldn't
on
be
a
taking,
certain
you just
path.
stand on it.
Okay.
You just stand on it. I didn't read that one in time.
It just said, will this room be able to be completed by a bunch of randomers that aren't in Discord, for example? And I think it would,
just type
because
in
you
game.
just put NW, northwest, northeast, southeast, southwest.
Well,
Like,
I
it'd
mean,
be quite easy to do it like that.
if you think of Dungeoneering, which one? There's the levers room, but I don't think that one was very coordinated too much. Yeah, you just count it down, you just go 3, 2, 1, never just pull the lever.
Yeah.
So in this room, it would be, you just look at it, and in the first phase you take no damage, so you just stand right next to the boss, and then you'd see the animation similar to the orbs from the gargoyle boss, Dusk I think which one, and then you just run towards the square, and then obviously if they put 5 in the same area, the whole team has to choose one, because if 2 people jump on one, then they both go to the next one, then they could both go back, they're going to get hit. So that's how I think it should go. So there'll be an animation you can follow, and then at that point just go towards it. So if you're stood northwest, and one goes northwest, that's obviously yours.
Yeah. And obviously a bunch of randomers could do that that aren't in Discord, of course, because you just say, you'd either say, I'm going to this corner, whoever's like in charge of it will just say, you go here, and then just go by that.
Right.
Does the chat actually think this is a good idea?
We need to try and
is this a good
simplify
idea?
this. We need to
Well, we've got to
simplify
boil it
this.
down.
I'm gonna-
We have to give it a pitch in front, like, because the team's
So
coming down in like
it's
a few
basically a
minutes.
boss with 2 phases, right?
Yeah.
You've got phase 1, which is basically whatever we're going to call it, like the specific blood placement one, switching over multiple times, and then it goes on to this one, phase 2, with
So I'll write up phase
the
1.
boss being a bat, which is initially in the middle, you know, pretty lifeless, and then it begins to get stronger.
Yeah. So
And-
the more you mess up
yeah.
in phase 1, the stronger it is in phase 2.
Yes.
Basically, it needs to be simplified because I'm still.
Would
here,
that just
like,
boost its health, or
what's
would it
going
boost
on?
its stats as well? Do you think?
Everything.
Do you think everything
Yeah.
would be a buffed boss depending how much you mess up?
I don't know if anyone can read that because I have really bad handwriting because I dropped out of uni, so bear with me. So phase 1 would be 5 tiles, 5 random tiles, 5 times, 5 random tiles that you need to get to. It repeats 5 times, so if we x5 that, every time you miss one, you get damaged.
I think a picture would be better to like explain what Wooks was doing with the connecting the X's or whatever.
That's phase
We've
2.
got a
Maybe
couple
kinda
down
hard to
there.
understand.
Yeah, this is just the phase 1. The phase 2.
Oh right, yeah, I'm an idiot.
But that's how I think it should be. So basically, it does it 5 times. Everyone knows it's 5 times. It's basically solved.
Yeah.
You just go to the right tile. If you miss one, you take damage, and the boss will heal over health and overload in a way for every one you miss. So if you hit all 5 perfectly, boss has the starting health of, I don't know, 500. Give it 1 defense, so DPS is good. Depending if you want blow packs with the best weapon.
So there's a possible 25 tiles on this. It's 5 times 5.
25
so,
tiles. You miss them all. The boss will have
So
like 50.
that's 25 times, you know, the power. Well, not 25 times, but it's more.
Damage wise, the odds of missing all 5 is 0. Honestly.
Like you could literally say one tile would have a certain amount of buff to it, so you know if you miss one, that's how much it's going to be. So you know if you miss 10 tiles, it would be like, say, 10 times.
That's the way you do it. You don't, because this boss, I think we built it, it's not going to actually attack anyone. It's just the environment that's going to damage you in the second phase when like you start shutting off the whole map and it's going to get smaller and smaller. So therefore, every time you miss one, the boss just regenerates health. The longer the boss takes to kill, the more squares that will eventually be filled. And then if it's got like 1,000 health at the end, the whole arena might be full and you've got to take damage. And if it's got 500, you can kill it before you make any mistakes.
So it's more like a supply draining room then, rather than...
Unless you do it right now.
Yeah.
Have you thought about anything to like actually? I know I'm going back into mechanics. We're meant to be wrapping it up, but like, have you thought about you got to run to the tiles in phase 1? Have you thought about like other things that can make like slow you down, like bats will block the way and you can't run through them or something?
I get so
Or
like a
something
barricade
like
in
that.
Castle Walls
Yeah,
today.
pretty much.
Oh my god.
I mean, that could happen. That could make it harder. That would kind of solve the ping issue too, because it would slow down the whole thing. So like bad ping or just crap. I'd make it easier as well in a way, wouldn't it? Give more room for error.
Oh, everyone's asked me to be muted, so am I allowed to speak anymore on this? Does anyone write anything on the board? Tom, do you want to find something on the board?
Mate, my writing's terrible. I wouldn't be able to read it. There's no point. I'd rather just talk, to be fair. I feel like, I don't know, it needs to be simplified. Like, it can't be too overcomplicated, if that makes sense. Like, the second part, there's a few bits where I'm just like, well over my head.
I get it. It's just like Connect 4 or something.
It's more like, is it called Squares, that game?
Game of Fellow.
Yeah, that one. I know what you mean, yeah.
Okay, it's kind of like that.
It's like tic-tac-toe. One of the... Oh, yeah, it's squares, isn't it? Yeah.
But to be fair, we want it to be fairly intricate. Like, obviously, with it being raids 2, they want it to be pretty hard.
Yeah. I think it should be super punishing, so like if the team messes up, anybody on the team, like if you mess up on every phase up until the second part when the boss is actually alive, like make it borderline impossible, like borderline. Or maybe just make it
Does that just
impossible.
rage quit the raid though? Or is it like you have to just keep doing it to practice this thing? You have a couple of scuff rooms and you get a good one?
Well, maybe they can do it so like if say everybody wipes, everybody does die, the room resets, but then obviously you lose half of your points, so that's really bad. In itself, that's a big enough of a punishment, I think. Instead of having to like reset the entire raid and never being able to do it, I don't know.
Okay, guys. It's been a very productive live stream here. We've gotten quite far, actually. Better than I expected. I was really hoping you guys weren't going to meme this, and you didn't. You took it very seriously. We can appreciate that. Hopefully people in the chat have been following along. Mod Kieran, however, has been working away, and he's about to join us for the dev Q&A, which will be starting immediately after this stream. And as one of the main devs behind Raids 2, you're going to pitch your room to Mod Kieran as he evaluates it and decides whether it's worthy enough to have a place in Raids 2.
Oh, the sunglasses.
I'm the judge. I need the sunglasses. So I'm expecting a top design here. Who's going to start? Who's going to summarise it for
So
us?
you walk in and then 7 Jads just spawn.
We got it! Congratulations, guys. Straight in.
Alright, who's explaining? Do I explain?
Who understands this the best?
Shall I explain the first part? Where you walk in?
First part, yeah, go for it.
Okay, so you walk in, just imagine a room with some massive like bat in the middle. It's been drained, it's been there for years, it needs food.
Yeah.
So all these players walk in, tiles start to appear on the floor. Each player needs to run to a tile. If they don't stand the tile in time, then the boss will drain and add power to itself. It does that 5 times, so there's 25 possible tiles. If you miss all 25, it's going to be like a really powerful boss for phase 1. And then once phase 1 is done, it goes to phase 2. And then this is where Whoops comes in with his grid tactic.
Can you have a pen?
Yeah.
So,
No!
Oh no.
Is that a drawing of the boss?
Yeah.
What was that?
That's the final product.
so we have the RuneScape grid system here,
Yep.
and the boss would attack players in order, in same order the whole time. So if you say player 1 stands right here, the boss would shoot a pool of blood right here underneath the player, so player would have to move away.
Yeah.
If you stand in the pool, it would hit the boss and damage the player. And then he would shoot another pool at the second player. So if we say the second player is standing here, he would put the blood.
Yeah.
And then the thing about this is that the bloods can connect. So whenever there's an empty square that has 2 other pools of blood right next to it, it will fill up the empty one with blood as well. So you want to position your pools of blood so they're not so close to each other, because otherwise it could quickly fill up the whole room.
I like that.
And then you'd be draining the whole
So, you, as a team, you're going to have to work out carefully
Yeah.
exactly where you're all going to stand in the room in advance and plan this out.
Yeah.
I like that.
And the
And
first
based on the order as well.
Yeah.
So you can.
it's a bit like a rotation kind of thing.
That's really cool.
Or you're trying to take down the boss at the same time.
And it fits thematically as well, with the with obviously the fact there's a bat and blood and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Because this room could be like
That's really
really
cool.
easy or really
Yeah.
hard,
Yeah,
depending
it's
on
kind
how you coordinate that bit, and then the first bit, how powerful the boss is at the start.
Yeah,
Question
we
for you guys, just real quick. How much
How much are you taking if you mess up?
a lot.
A lot.
Well,
How much is a
respect to
lot?
the amount where it's not like one mistake is just a raid over.
Like,
but
how
it's
much would it be on the tiles at the start, do you think?
I'm thinking it should be like the power of like the Cerberus pools if you're in the second
So-
stair, but not when the whole area's filled up. That one should be like dead
Yeah.
man gas.
'Cause you've got-
3 damage.
Because each player has to land on at least 5 tiles, so you could say like 20 damage for each. So if you miss all 5, that's 100 damage. Or say, probably get away with 30, because you're going to get to probably 2 of them, aren't you? Maybe you miss like 3 of them or something.
Realistically, a good team shouldn't miss any.
Yeah.
So a couple
So-
things you need to consider.
Is
Supplies.
consumed. So once a team perfects this and gets this down to a T, how long is it going to take them to complete this room, and how many supplies is it going to take?
My idea, rough numbers, is you get every single pool correct. The boss heals no extra health, and it has a flat health of, I don't know, 1,000 maybe, and it has 1 defense. So a blowpipe can tear it down very quickly with dragon darts. You could destroy it.
So you imagine essentially, the more you mess up, the harder the boss is going to
Yeah,
get as
basically.
well.
It's like because it's I
You
don't
punish yourself in damage and the boss getting more difficult.
Uh-huh.
That's cool.
I think we've built it so the boss doesn't actually attack you, it's the environment.
Yeah.
So on the first phase, the more you miss, the more health the boss has, the longer it takes to kill, the more pools of blood that are around, and then they start connecting. So eventually, if you mess up too bad, the whole room's just full of blood, and everyone's taking damage, like 3 per tick or something.
I think it needs a lot more than 1000 health, because with blowpipe the DPS is like 10 damage per second, and with 5 players that's 50 damage per second, so it's going to be a
I mean,
20
what's
second
the
kill.
normal health of a raid boss with 5 people scaled, would you say?
Don't know off the top of my head.
Probably a few thousand at least, I'd say.
That was just rough numbers I threw
Yeah.
around. Then it's just how much health it heals per tile missed. So if you hit 25 tiles correct and miss 1,
Because you could do a flat linear for each tile. You could say like each tile you miss is 250 HP to the boss or something. So 10 tiles, 2,500 HP.
yeah, it's 2 extra blood.
See, something I'm so keen on, especially with this raid, with raids 2, the Theatre of Blood, is to have those team-based mechanics
Yeah.
where you really have to be organised together. I mean, this mechanic fits perfectly. You're trying to stand out. You've got to organise between each other. Tactics it beforehand well.
With With Raids 2, it's going to be linear, obviously. So this room, if it was put into Raids 2, would be in permanently every single time. And one of the things we need to consider is how quickly it takes them to beat this room, right? So if they end up beating this room in a minute because they've perfected the strategy to a T, and it still has its guaranteed drop, which might be a few 100K or what have you, we want to make sure that that's in line with the other rooms. So we'll look at the boss's health and kind of determine how long it'll take people to complete the room after that. But overall, it sounds like a really, really amazing design. I say well done, guys.
Do I get a raid out of 10 now?
What the last thing we need, really, the last thing we need is a name, I think, for this boss.
Well, didn't we decide on that?
Batinator. We're not doing that.
That's too cheesy. That's
Flappy.
I'm ruling that one out right now.
Just want to mention the taxonomical name for bats is really cool. Like, get the chat to Google it for us. Like, please.
Oh yeah.
It's like Chiroptera or something.
That is the name of the boss.
Perfect.
Done.
Done.
Something based
Very
on
much. You just take a normal word, you look at like the Latin or the Greek, and that's how you get the that's how you get the boss name. Pretty much.
Call it Wooks.
Okay.
Works well, yeah.
I'm gonna.
One more thing is when you stand on the square in the second phase and the blood comes down, obviously the boss is going to rotate each player by a certain amount of time, and just so you can't time it to perfection, if you step on the one you previously were, next attack you get it because obviously it'd be on the same square, it wouldn't spread.
Yeah.
So therefore, if you do that, you take like a ridiculous amount of damage just to prevent you keep them one square.
So you're considering ways that it can be abused, the mechanics?
Because eventually there'll be a solved room. If you just do that, then it prevents that happening. So you have to build it out.
Considering all the different potential tactics, I like it.
We're-
I've got to say you did a pretty good job.
Yeah, and we're not limited to this session. This can definitely continue. We're actually about to go out for a meal, so we can continue over dinner. However, what is about to start is the old school dev Q&A, so we're going to be kicking that thing off very shortly. Overall, though, it's a yes from me, Kieran. Is it a yes from you?
It's a yes from me, Simon.
We'll take some more time to really just kind of get through this thing and design it as flawlessly as we possibly can. But overall, I think you guys did a great job. I know the chat loved it, so well done, guys. Thanks for your time. Yeah. And we're going to throw you guys over to a holding screen as we let the J-Mods take the couches for the old school Q&A.
I wasn't ready.
Hello everybody, welcome to the weekly Old School Q&A. I'm joined today by Mod Matt K.
Yo.
Mod Kieran.
Hello.
Mod Tom H.
Hello.
And Mod Ed. Today I'm your host instead of Mod Archie, so Mod Wolf.
Wait, you're not Mod Archie?
No, no Mod Archie.
I didn't even notice.
He's currently entertaining our guests.
It's quite obvious. I mean, you've got bigger muscles than Mod Archie.
I'm way more manly than Mod Archie, aren't I? Have a lot of questions today. We also have Mod Ghost on the computer. He's going to show you what Warcraft looks like. So all the streamers today have been playing with that. What was that like, Ed?
It was nerve-wracking actually showing off to those guys, but we got some really good feedback from them. Like, hopefully we're going to make some nice little changes and make it even better for when it launches.
Absolutely. They've also been playing with Adamant and Rune Dragons, haven't they?
Yes, and people actually got a sneak peek of those because Boaty was streaming them. So if anyone wants a little sneak peek of Adamant and Rune Dragons, go and watch that back.
There are a couple of questions for Adamant and Rune Dragons on this list. But as always, if you have any questions, ask them in the chat at RuneScape. And we have Mod Rye on the chat today gathering those questions. So if they're not good, blame him. And we'll move on straight to the first question, which is from Abolish. And he asks, would it be possible to extend the time of the weekly stream to 1 hour and 30 minutes instead of just 60? It sometimes feels as though there's so many questions that go unanswered and little time given to certain other questions because they may have been asked before.
Didn't we answer this like just the other week?
I was ill last week.
Okay. Basically, we'd have to start it earlier, and we get asked so many repeat questions now. Actually, a lot of the questions we're kind of repeating. So I think it depends how many questions we try and smash through as to whether we can extend it. If we have a slower pace and we've got Matt with his dad stories and stuff filling time, then we can
what they want, you know?
then we can probably fill like 4 hours if he's on the stream. But otherwise,
I've got a good story about that actually.
I think it's worth bearing in mind that as much as these streams are really important to what we do, the more time we spend on the streams, the less time we're actually doing our jobs. So if you want less development, we could stream all day, I guess.
There's multiple things for it. The questions we don't get answered get rolled around to next week anyway, so the questions will always get answered. And we have had more than one stream where at the beginning Chris has come to me and Ash and said, guys, can you talk really low because I haven't got very many questions?
Yeah.
So I think we do all right for getting through the questions we get. And again, if we don't get them answered in the Q&A, there's always we can always ask them on Twitter and Reddit and all the other places we hang out. So this isn't the only chance you get to see us each week. But I'll quite happily do these all day.
Also, most importantly, these chairs are uncomfortable. Those lights are awful.
Yeah.
It's horrible seeing you.
I think, if we were sat here for like 2 hours, I think we'd probably all just start melting because we can't have the aircon on while we're streaming because it makes a load of noise. So
I've had 10 people in here just a second ago. It's feisty would be the term, I think.
God, you guys are some positive.
I'll tell you what, you can imagine them on Christmas Day sitting there with their little bag of humbugs.
Right, next question then. Ruru the Wiz asks, from a developer standpoint, are there any items that you wish were not in the game or as strong as they were in as many areas because they might potentially limit creativity or influence future balancing?
I would say the Dark Bow.
Yeah?
Because I think that is very high, and if it wasn't as high, we could do a few more things.
I'm not sure. I mean, the Dark Bow has a place. It's a very slow weapon, but yeah, it's very high. Whereas
I think we could
something
do more
like
interesting with it.
I mean, the blowpipe makes it difficult when it comes to any range stuff because it is just so powerful.
On the topic of bows, I'm going to do it. I'm going to say it. Twisted bow.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
I have a reason to hate it at the moment because I am balancing new bosses, but it is just an absolute nightmare to work with.
It's a bit limiting. Things that we can do.
I'm not sure I'd want to remove any of them, but in hindsight, as there always is, there are items that we've released that have been too powerful or had too much of an impact in terms of like power creep and not left us the room to go up from there for anything else.
I'll tell you what else. It's the opposite way around. Instead of an item being too strong, an item being in the wrong place, the whole smithing and mining side of stuff, I think when it was originally designed, obviously no one expected it to still be going 16 years later.
Yeah.
But that's capped out what you can realistically do with mining and smithing as something which is useful beyond getting it to 99. But that's the other side, opposite way round of looking at it.
I've got a curveball.
Oh.
For something that annoys me as a dev and is annoying to work with.
QA, me.
Just say that was red.
I'm done then. No, you just said it for me. No. Satchels.
Oh, yeah.
This little lunch boxes you get from the Tower of Life quest. And the rewards for the Tower of Life quest. What's the point? You can put a banana in them, a sandwich, and something else, but it's all rubbish.
Role playing. Take your little pack lunch to school.
Do you not like to, right, I'm going to go kill Zord, I'll take my pack lunch with me?
But it's completely irrelevant. It serves solely, it exists with object variables to track how much food are in it. And you've got to think about it in every scenario. I swear. I've spent more time deving around it than people have using it.
Yeah.
And there's like over 400,000 of those guys. Like,
if we removed it, do you think anyone would notice? They will now that we've said it, obviously, but before we mention it today, do you think anyone would have actually known?
No. So just yesterday I found out there's mini tasks you can do in Kelder Grim.
Mini tasks?
Mini tasks, like
the little
you get
jobs
assigned,
you do
go and get a red cape.
Yeah.
Since when did that exist? I was like, what's this code? Oh well.
Fair enough. Next question's from Towelcat, and it kind of links with the recent news post that we had. I wish CM was here, but they're busy at the moment at I believe a award show of some kind.
Oh yeah, nice social media awards or something, isn't it?
Something
I can't
like
remember what
that.
it's called.
But they're currently in London. But it kind of relates to the post that was released a couple of days ago, and that's, can Dragonstones be removed from the major arena? But rather than that, can also the activity of the major arena be buffed so that you're promoted to staying in the area as opposed to hopping worlds?
In what way do they want it buffed? How do they?
So I'm assuming they just want the Dragonstones removed, but to make up for the loss in points, just buff the other items?
Presumably.
Because the Dragonstones are so fast while the rest of the activity is really slow.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't actually go in there and do it properly. You just go around and get the Dragonstones, but so do all the bots.
I believe that the news post that we had mentioned that we would be adding a level to pick up those Dragonstones, but I certainly agree with this person, the concept of, instead of just adding that cap in, we should also probably rebalance the activity to be better to do on its own than just that method.
Yeah, makes sense.
How did that link to the social media awards?
Oh, because I wish CM was here.
It was part of the integrity news post, one of the anti-bot measures.
Yeah.
Aren't they just the meme awards?
The
social media awards, like that's all it is. It's memes now.
What is a social media award? What are they?
You get on I don't know. To be honest,
we went to the Golden Joystick Awards last week or the week before, and they had some famous comedian who I'd never heard of before because being old and stuff, but the other guys had. And he spent his entire time taking the mickey out of EA throughout the entire thing because it was straight after the EA stuff happened.
Yeah.
It's quite entertaining, quite frankly.
What was this comedian's name?
Danny someone. Danny something. Oh, I don't know. Ask Lee. He'll know.
I see it moving on in the chat.
I see it moving on in the chat. Story asks, will the new Rune and Adamant Dragons be assigned as a Slayer task?
Yes.
Yes, they will. And then Matt Champion then had a follow-up question asking, any chance metal dragons can be grouped into a singular Slayer task in the future, perhaps for Slayer points as a cost?
I mean, we could, but it feels like it's a bit against the idea of Slayer, of just lumping all the tasks together. Like, I know there's spiritual creatures have that, so it has been done before, but if people don't like tasks, I think there's better solutions than just lumping them all together.
Lumping tasks together like that is just a buff to Slayer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is. You get the tasks you want more often, and you avoid the ones you don't want more often.
But coming back to the Adamant Rune Dragons, we are aware that people don't like new Slayer tasks being added, especially Metal Dragons, so we have made the weightings for those very, very low, and the numbers that you have to kill are very low as well, but there is, you can unlock extensions to them.
Cool, sounds good.
So that's sort of the compromise we've gone with.
Cool. I'll take some questions from the chat. The Fat Matt asked, can you increase the points cap in the Volcanic Mine store?
Yeah, can you?
That's a question for Kieran, I think.
I know they specifically addressed it to someone, didn't they?
No.
Okay. Yes, we can.
There you go. MB Barabbas asks, could you add a feature for a tool leprechaun to store a plant cure?
Seems sensible. I see a reason why
These
not.
are pretty quick. These are pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm liking this. Dawn asks, is there an update regarding Torig's hammers? It was pulled months ago.
Did we?
We pulled Torag's hammers.
I don't remember polling it. I remember
rephrase that. We
discussing
did not
it.
pull Torag's hammers. We
No.
discussed potentially pulling it, so maybe
Yeah.
we will, but we've not pulled it.
I think there was a discussion about what they could do, what we were thinking about, and there was no decision on what we wanted.
I think we had oil drums to the game.
And
given me use.
And so yeah, I'm pretty sure it was never polled.
Suggest buffs to Torag's hammers in the chat, and we'll try and capture them out.
Cool. Hexetera asks, could we have a similar King of the Skill style event, but for a race towards acquiring the quest cape, or perhaps the most quest points as fast as possible?
The reason we didn't do the quests in King of the Skill was because there's no high scores for quests. And we couldn't get high scores for quests done in time for it. Can do, but again, it will boil down to high scores, and because you can't really do it without high scores.
Cool. Lord Suomi, not the real one, asked, what happened to the 100 Master Clue reward? Is there still a design competition planned, or was it postponed or canned?
I believe it's just something it's still planned, just Mod Sweeney unfortunately just hasn't had the time to do it with everything else going on.
Cool. This one came from a lot of players, so I just kind of summarised the question. It was, are there any plans for a few weeks of quality of life and focus polls? There's been a lot of things mentioned in streams that you said you'd like to work on, but don't seem to have a lot of the time at the moment with so many updates going on.
Probably February. I think that's
we usually do
most years we do February is a quality of life month. We usually do 4 quality of life polls throughout February. And I plan to do that again.
It's not the only time we do quality of life, though. We do slot in quality of life throughout the year.
Yeah, I think we've had, what, 18, 19 quality of life polls this year? Probably somewhere around that.
It's been quite a few, but yeah, we usually February try and get as many as we can.
Exactly. On the topic of quality of life, I just now
had a better quality life.
Yeah, raids the private storage chest. I sorted out the drag zone on it, which made it very difficult to click. So that'll be in there, not tomorrow, but soon.
Oh, champ.
Quality of life updates are coming along.
Do any of you guys want to perhaps summarise the next couple of weeks' worth of updates, just so they're aware? I mean, they know what's coming out. Do you want to? Do any of you feel confident enough?
So we got next week. So this week we've obviously got Deadman stuff going in ready for Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's when the Deadman final season kicks off on Monday. Watch that. That's good. What else have we got? Christmas is coming up a week after, isn't it?
Yeah, a couple of weeks.
We're doing that
for Christmas.
on a Monday update. I don't know if actually we've told them yet, but the plan is to do it on a Monday update rather than a Thursday update. So that's probably Monday the 11th.
I believe
so
that's the date.
We've got 3 weeks of updates left this year. That's it.
And then the week after that, I don't know what we're doing. We're probably sort of recovering from Christmas party, I would imagine.
Yeah, I imagine that'll be some qual features and stuff, just to kind of tide you over a little bit over Christmas.
Christmas week.
And then there's this quest that some guy's working on that's coming out sometime soon.
Oh, not again.
Another one. Right after the Corsair quest, free to play next week.
Not another one, another 2. So we've got a bit of quality.
Corsair quest going out next week as well.
We've got a bit of quality of life going out this week and the Deadman stuff. And next week sees the release of Corsair Cove, which is the new free-to-play area that we pulled alongside Dragon Slayer.
Ash's quest is brilliant.
And yes, that includes the new free-to-play quest Corsair Curse, which has been developed by Ash. So it's automatically going to be good.
It's Ash's first quest since 2012.
Wow. That's a while.
If anyone doesn't know his previous ones, you're looking at My Arm's Big Adventure, Swan Song, Love Story from after 07.
That's cool. And then we've obviously got Dragon Slayer.
Yeah, so yeah, when Corsair Cove goes out, you will be able to see the myth skill, but you won't be able to go in just yet. But a few more weeks, January the 4th.
Terrible teasers. Aren't we terrible at marketing?
I got a note here on my thing to ask Kieran if he brought his book down, but it doesn't look like he did, so we can't say who was the closest with the King of the Skill guesses on who'd be on the highest scores.
John was.
It's not over yet.
It's not over yet. It's pretty close. Highest total at the moment, 16 or 7.
Exactly.
At 16 or 7?
Yeah, John got it exactly.
He did not.
I was almost impressed for a moment.
So, right, okay. We all put our names on the board and what totals we predicted from when we did it a few weeks ago.
Big one.
Yeah,
no,
I don't
so we did it live on the
either.
Q&A. So we did it live on the Q&A. So not.
So when you say all, you mean the 5 people on the Q&A that week?
And then I put the scores on the board, the other day, and then John came in yesterday and put 1607 next to his name and thought, no one will notice. But I'll have you know, I'm the closest right now because I went 1620.
Go over, it's bust. It's Price is Right
That's
rules,
not how
mate.
it works.
That's how it works. Price is Right rules. Right, let's move on. Gimo asks, a while ago you talked about buffing bush patches. Are there still plans for this? And if so, when will we likely see them?
I think there's probably still plans, but it's
What patches were they?
Bush patches.
Bush patches.
Bush
patches. I would imagine we might tie that in with perhaps the thing that you went through at RuneFest.
Oh, Farming Guild.
Farming Guild. So that seems like a nice time to do it with, unless it's going to be a small thing in the meantime. But
is it Bush?
It's Bush. It's Bush.
Bush.
What? Bosh? What on earth?
I said Bush.
It's
Bosh. That's is it like cleaning stuff, isn't it?
No, it's bang.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for that.
They make like washing machines.
Yeah,
and
Bosch
stuff.
do. Bosch is make.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now I was wrong.
that big farming update. Yeah, next year.
Interesting thing
exciting.
about Bosch, all right? Right, this is actually really interesting. When I worked at home base, we get the people come in to sell you drill bits, and they said every drill bit in the entire world. This was 10 years ago, so well, 15 years ago. Every drill bit comes out of one factory, which is owned by Bosch. They make all the drill bits in the world.
I don't believe that.
It's probably not true anymore, but
yeah.
It was back then. There was only one drill bit factory, so you need such specialised equipment to make a drill bit.
Right.
I see a few moving on.
Yeah, I see a few moving on. Let's ask some questions in the chat again. So Ranger Doom has asked, can you please update the gem bag to hold cut gems and also have the same effect as the coal bag, which lets you make jewellery with the gems inside, similar to how coal works with bars?
I imagine it's probably doable. I have no idea what the code is like myself.
I don't either.
So it could be a fairly easy job, or it could be an absolute nightmare, depending on how the code is.
Surprising.
There's never an answer of moderately. It's moderately difficult to do.
Yeah, it's always moderately. Do you want to maybe straw poll that? Because
it would be a big buff to cutting gems and the XP you get for doing that. That's why.
All right, we'll get a straw poll in for that one. And we'll
the
move
feature
on.
of keeping cut gems in there, don't really see any problem with that.
Yeah, that bit on its own is pretty good. As well as cut gems, or just one or the other? Would you have both?
I think both, yeah.
Cool. Adam FTM asked, as per the Reddit post, and as Chris isn't here, please can Mod Ed cast Vengeance?
Why do you think Mod Archie ain't hosting?
What?
Chris said that he would do it if Mod Sween and Aiza did the Macarena.
Yeah, so there you go.
What is the Macarena?
I will
Whoa,
take
whoa!
You never done
you
Macarena
just have to
before?
ask what
I mean, I've heard the word Macarena.
You've never done the Macarena.
I don't have any
It's a
knowledge
type of
about
pasta. You're fine.
Like, did you not live as a like
Yes, I did.
school discos Macarena?
How do you not know what the Macarena is?
What?
All right, sorry, for the record, I'm reading out the questions before
he's
reading
from
them. That's my
Newcastle.
mistake.
School discos in Newcastle weren't like that.
Yeah, they're like
I grew up
stabbings and stuff.
I grew up on Metallica, Alice Cooper, and Iron Maiden, etc. Okay.
I've got a really interesting story about Iron Maiden, mate.
So CR7 asks, can we set more than 4 fairy ring codes as our favourite? How about that?
I would like people just to be able to have as many as they like, quite frankly.
You favourite them all, it becomes a bit defunct at that point, I think.
Indeed. But I think once you've done it once, it's not the most... I mean, it's great first time you do it, when you understand how it all works, but then it just becomes a pain to continue.
Yeah, I think we should just be able to have the list and...
But I think you've got to at least do each one once
to
lock it in, and then click the lock-in button or something, and then it allows you just to choose them. Would be my thinking.
Fair enough. AmaTRS asks, will Vorkath count as a blue dragon on Slayer task?
Yes, and he will have a boss task as well.
Excellent. The straw poll is in. Should the gem bag be capable of holding cut gems as well as being able to make jewellery from gems stored in the bag? Yay or nay? The yays are at 57%, not really a very high yes rate, to be honest with you. But I think holding gems was a little less contentious.
Yeah, holding them should be fine, but...
It doesn't matter who's on the chat. Every single week,
Instead of
that
yes or
person
no.
feels such power and decides, I can't just put yes and no for the answers. I have to be more creative than that.
Yeah, I got told off when I tried it a while back for saying, what was it, yes pleasey lemon squeezy or no way Jose, and I had to redo the poll with the standard yes or no.
To be fair, I think
the results were the same, so...
I think when Kieran was dressed up as a cowboy, I put yeehaw as the yes.
No one needs to be reminded of that.
That was a brilliant moment in history that never needs to be forgotten.
If you did not see Kieran as a cowboy, do feel free to go back and look it up. It's probably all over YouTube.
It's all over YouTube.
Yeah, please do link it on Reddit and upvote it to the top of Reddit.
Pretty sure that was a different person.
But you carry on with what you want to do with straw polls, right? That's
you do you.
You do you, man. You do you. So, I think it's actually a good time right now to probably hop on over to Mod Ghost over at the computers. He's got a little sneak peek of Vorkath, the repeatable boss fight after Dragon Slayer 2. He's been working really hard at it. So, are you ready, Gareth?
Yeah, I'm ready.
There we go. Let's go over and jump over.
Dabed.
Hello. Right, okay, so this is Vorkath. I'll show you the concept that I started with. Yeah, like that's ever going to be achieved. But I can do my best, and this is apparently my best. To get something close to that. So I'll just give you a quick turntable around the model.
Ooh.
There we go, that's exciting. So the difficult thing about animating this thing is going to be that it doesn't actually have functional wings, so I can't mirror the animations. And it's only got 3 legs. So one of these wings, this left one just here, is going to have to act as a front leg, so it will move very interestingly and very eccentrically and very asymmetrically, but it's going to take so long to animate, so long. So I'm kind of a little bit unhappy, but happy at the same time, because it's good to have a challenge, and it should look lovely and really come to life once it's done. So I'll just give you another quick look around the model, and then I'll hand you back to those guys. There we go, and the concept as well. Great. So more to come in the next couple of weeks on this. Hopefully we'll have some animations for you in roughly about 2 weeks' time. Thank you.
Awesome. Good stuff. What do you think, Ed, seeing your stuff come to life?
It's going to be so nice to get that in game. So, like, I dev Vorkath pretty early on in Dragon Slayer development, so he's been ready, like, dev-wise for, like, well over a month, like, nearly 2 months now, but it's just been this massive blue dragon. It's going to be great to actually finally get a model in there rather than just this blue dragon walking around.
A few people have been asking, why has it only got 3 legs?
One fell off.
It's a mouldy dragon, so...
That's like it's a zombie dragon. Yeah. He's fallen apart a bit. He's not having a great time of it.
There you go.
Right. I'm going to ask a couple more questions from the chat, because there's a couple there. Low IQ EXD asked, is the Well of Goodwill ever coming back?
Probably not.
Any reason?
No, that I can give, no.
Fair enough. Dusty Lasagna asked, farming timer update. How are we doing with that?
It's still needing some testing. It's quite a lot of testing, very significant task, but I'm hopeful. I mean, Mod Curse has been working on it and is hopeful that he will have it out this year still, before the end of the year.
It's not a very easy thing to test with how long farming takes.
We've had to have
shortcuts, really.
Like some tools made so we can actually have accounts permanently logged in, avoiding the 6-hour timer and everything, so we can actually track it all properly and test it. But the aim is still this year. So fingers crossed.
Cool. OSRS Gasp asks, is the Barbarian Assault Arrow rework going to be sometime this year? I think that's specifically to you, I presume?
It's when I get time to do it, really, which, yeah, I should. Hopefully, once Dead Man's gone amazingly, around sort of over the Christmas where we're a little bit quieter, I should hopefully get time to look into that then.
Cool. I'm going to go back to questions that are on the list here. Nick Skill asks, can the respawn time of the Chaos Elemental potentially be lowered? Currently, hopping for kills is pretty aggravating / annoying.
I can understand that.
Yeah, I think that's a perfectly reasonable thing to ask for.
Cool. K Gaga asks, can you please change the odd delay in Tears of Gothics?
The what?
The odd delay in Tears of Gothics.
What's the odd delay?
I presume it means when you click and swap. I think that's part of the challenge, personally. But
there is a time cost associated with moving, I think, probably intentionally.
Yeah.
But we've discussed it previously, and I think we all agreed at the time that we really should look at Tears of Gothics in a whole. At the rapid speed those streams move, it is pure luck and not skill to at least some degree in that system. So I'd rather slow them down a little bit, let you pay attention, and do better because you're paying attention rather than just getting screwed over.
Yeah, you shouldn't be having big delays on something to make it more of a challenge. Like you should remove the delays and just lower the points or something like that. Those delays just make it nasty gameplay.
To just change it, I think there should be signals that so you know where it's moving or when it's moving. So those that are really paying attention get the benefit of being able to be like, oh, there was that little flash there, so I know it's going there. But those who aren't paying as much attention can still move fairly regularly to get it. But it's something I'd like to look into properly.
I like that.
I think just like a minimum time that it stays on a colour is more than enough.
If you have any questions, remember you can still put them in the chat at RuneScape. Mod Rai will be collecting those. Abolish asks, are we planning on adding any Slayer levels to the other kind of brutal dragons other than blacks?
No.
I think, yeah, we've been raised previously and we've said that we don't really feel that there's the need to.
They were added to blacks for a very specific reason. Consistency for the sake of consistency. What's the point in adding it to the others if it's not required?
That's fair enough.
Also, it'll mean Dragon Slayer 2 gets a Slayer requirement, spoilers.
Ah, okay, yes, that's true. Neasta asks, could the rogues' chests in the wilderness receive a small buff? Currently, for a high-level thieving activity, there is a lot of old, inexpensive drops on the tables.
I imagine it's something that can be looked at, yeah.
That came with the first wilderness rejuvenation, right?
That's right, yeah, I was trying to think where I remember. That's so long ago now. Yeah, they were very good back then. But obviously the game has progressed over the years, so they're not quite so good, so I'm all up for that. Anything to get more people into the wilderness.
Cool. A couple of players asked this one. The Saradomin and Guthix demons represented in Major Arena 2, can they potentially be changed to something more thematically fitting to the gods that they represent?
I was having a chat to Mod West about this the other day. He said he'd quite like to possibly swap like the Guthix one out for an Ent or something, and then the Saradomin one for I don't know, some Saradomin creature like a Centaur or something like that.
We've got our retrospective tomorrow, haven't we? Or is it Friday?
I believe it's tomorrow.
Tomorrow. So every time we do a piece of content, we do a retrospective afterwards, and we look at what went well, what went badly, what we could do better, what we can learn from it. I think there's some obvious things we can learn from this one, and we'll talk about them and probably have some answers for you after that tomorrow.
Cool. Cool. Haxed1 asks, will the Salve Amulet work on Borkath?
It doesn't at the moment. Probably going to stay that way, depending on balancing. Like, we had a look back at other bosses and stuff, and it is a little bit inconsistent with how the Salve Amulet works. Like, most bosses it doesn't work on, I don't think.
Cool. Mod Rai has just asked a question, which I'm kind of interested in straw polling it anyway to see what it comes out. He's saying, what are your thoughts on only having the best in slot tier of Maxcape as opposed to what we currently do and having the addition, like whenever we create a new best in slot, we keep the old one. Should we only keep the best in slot for Maxcape? What do you think? And can we have a straw poll for that one? Right.
I would very much like to see Maxcapes just stay for best in slot, because it's starting to get a little bit out of hand now. 3 new magic capes. When we add the new Ava's Divisive Dragon Slayer 2, that's another new ranged one. We can't keep this up forever.
Because we're going to do many of them. I agree. But
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Like, for the Fire Cape, that made sense. I think with how hard the Infernal Cape is, most people are still only ever going to have a Fire Cape. But for stuff like the Major Arena Capes and this new ranged device, it just doesn't seem necessary.
I think, realistically,
especially
we have to keep that rule hard.
Colour.
I think realistically though, we have to keep that rule hard and fast. If we're keeping it exclusively best in slot, that would have to include the Infernal Cape as well, being the only melee best in slot cape.
Well, yeah, I suppose they might not like that though.
So it's very.
And you got the Ardy Cape as well, because I mean that's best in slot in a different way, but.
I guess that's the thing.
That's the thing. There's such
where do you
variety.
stop when it comes to best in slot? There's loads of things which are best in slot at something.
I think it's quite a contentious decision, and the straw poll should help.
Yeah. Right. Well, while we wait for that straw poll result, I have a suggestion from Reddit, and I think it's the agility one. Have you got that, Ronan?
Yes.
Let's show that. That one. Yeah, Wilderness Marks. The player essentially has a desire to buff the Wilderness course by having it give Marks of Grace, but double the amount as opposed to 1. Oh, it can also be used for black graceful recolor potentially, which I thought was pretty nice.
I'm not sure I like needing like a specific different kind of mark. I'd rather just give double graceful marks, and it doesn't make sense just to give this other item which you then just convert it.
It could be.
And we can add the recolor potentially by just, you know, minimum number of times you've done the course or something, and then you can spend your gracefuls on it.
Yeah, I mean, it'll either need to be agility related or wilderness related, the thing that's on the floor, so it doesn't have to be a mark of grace. I mean, it could be after X amount of time a totem, do we call them totems? The PvP thing you get?
Emblems.
Emblem, yeah.
Yeah.
Totems was something else. That was from, what do we call it? Artisan.
Rick.
R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P.
Rest in pieces.
Yeah, so maybe that's another option, because it's got to be one of the two related, really, hasn't it?
Yeah.
That could be a rubbish idea, and or we could just invent totems.
Cool. There was the chat seemed kind of unanimously not really in favour of that, which
is fair enough.
Is fair enough. And on the topic of the max care best in slot, the exact question that we asked was: should we remove the previous tier of max cape when a new best in slot variant is released? This will include the removal of the max fire cape, and the yays are at 64% and the nays are at 36%. I presume that including the max fire cape being removed from there made that yes lower, but as Mod Kieran said, it has to be kind of a hard, fast rule. We can't say only best in slot except for melee.
Yeah.
Unless you're fine with that, of course, but it's a bit inconsistent.
Yeah, it would mean it's subjective. Going forward, if we released, like, let's say in 3 years' time we release another best in slot magic cape, but it's locked behind something of a similar nature to Inferno, then what do you do? We got to judge. Is this hard enough to say no?
Yeah, I think if we were going to do it, we'd have the one rule and just stick to it.
Sorry, I just saw a question from Defense Tier that was like, do you like trees? What's your favourite kind of tree in game? And I was like, solid question.
Yes.
What's your answer?
Mine?
Yeah.
Magic. I like how
Is it 'cause they
animates.
sparkle?
It's because it sparkles.
Yeah. I like the ones on Nate's not.
The
Arctic Pines, because they have this like swing animation and they look cool. But going back to the last question,
Serious question,
the cape thing.
Yes.
I think we're all right. Personally, I don't feel that much desire to remove the old ones. Like, I think it's fine to keep them existing. But when you see somebody in that Fire Max cape, or you see someone in the first Major Arena cape, you just call them a peasant.
Whoa!
Go get the better one.
Wow.
Go get the better one. Beat Inferno.
Does doing this help
He
the
got
players
max.
in any way? Does doing this help the players in any way?
Well, that's the issue.
No.
Beneficially, I guess it's more for just... with the magic capes in particular, I think there was a discussion surrounding how they look and are they too similar. So in that scenario, maybe they might have looked too similar to the ones that weren't as good. The new best in slot. That might have been the main problem.
Yeah.
Maybe
Because from our point of view,
differentiating it.
it's quite obvious a good thing for us, as we have, it saves us an awful lot of dev time when we're doing stuff. But that's not necessarily a thing for the players. So I think we've just got to sort of be mindful of what actually is a benefit for them on this. For us, there's a huge amount of benefit for us, because every time we make a cape, we don't have to worry about it. One less thing to worry about is good for us as a development team. But we're here to service you guys, not to make our lives easier as developers. So we just need to be sort of conscious of that, whether that's the right thing to do or not.
Cool.
That's my input. There you go.
Awesome. Z Dynamite asks, will we ever be able to have capital letters and symbols in our password to help assist in account security?
Probably at some point. If an account is hijacked, it's not through their password being brute forced. So the actual significant impact of that is very little if we were to do that. So the benefit you'd get is very little. Passwords just aren't brute forced. So.
Length of your password makes a lot more difference than symbols or capitals.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know, it was something we'll work towards. It is a standard which we'll work towards that, I'm sure, in the future. But the benefit you'll get from it is not noticeable.
Cool. DY416 asks, why do the charged Dragonstone jewellery scrolls not work on Rings of Wealth?
You can only charge those in the wilderness, can't you?
Yeah, they were left out because of the fact they're exclusively powered by the obelisk. It was a wilderness benefit.
It's why they're not included on the new fountain in the Myths Guild either. It's the only one it doesn't do.
Cool. BTC is asking when can we expect to see the integrity poll, for that matter, poll updates? Because a lot of them aren't being polled.
I don't know. I'd like to have a chat with Alec and Thingy first. Find out what their thoughts are about where we are with it. I mean, the big thing about it is the first iteration went out of what we think is the right thing to do. We got a whole load of feedback. Deadman's getting in the way of working on that directly because there's a lot of work that needs to go into that. So we just need to get that feedback and get our heads around it and make the right decision about it, and then we can get it out as soon as we can, basically.
Cool. Gazzo is asking when, for an ETA for that matter, on the leather and wooden shields. I believe Mod West spoke about this a little while ago, though.
Yeah, soon, TM. They're pretty much done development-wise. I think it's just finding some QA time to get them properly looked at.
It's kind of hard at the moment, I imagine, because we have so much that's still coming out the next couple of weeks. I mean, Matt, you just went through some of the stuff that we're going through. Yet just as equally, we're being told sometimes, you know, maybe a bit more quality of life instead. So it's getting the balance right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of difficult.
I have to go. I'm sorry, but I'm leaving early, and I do apologise. But I have to go and do something before I go.
Enough. Those of us who you do a full work day will just chill here for a bit longer.
We'll continue to answer questions from people who are asking.
I can tell you what it is if you really want to know.
Go on, then.
It is very important, but it doesn't sound very exciting. It's all to do with the mobile version of the game we're bringing out, and we need to put into it some attribution software so we're able to see where marketing goes, what happens, how we direct people into the game, what they do, and that sort of stuff. And I need to get something out to Google and Apple before the end of the day, before they go home rather than before I go home, which is only going to take me about 2 minutes to do, but I have to do it so that stuff can start working on that. So it sounds really boring, but it is quite important. So but I wanted to be on here because there's a few questions that I wanted to be involved in. So.
Cool.
Peace.
Right. Take care, Matt. Now we can talk about the real stuff. No, I'm kidding. Empressy asks in the chat, could we please get some more Mythbuster and Storytime streams? Do you guys remember those?
Yeah. Matt just can't do anything.
I think that's something we want to do, but just don't have the time for at the minute. I know Chris wanted to do some more, but now he's kind of moved over to a slightly different
what's with the sun zoom in?
Sort of role. So hopefully, yeah, we will get some more done at some point.
Cool. I really like the Mythbuster ones. There's a lot of things people presume or just have always thought were the way it was.
A lot of them have probably been answered though on previous ones.
It's true.
I guess it's been so long, people have probably forgotten now.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Octaves asks, can you add something to the mineral shop in the mining guild after buying the end upgrade for the gloves because they're useless after that point? That was pretty blunt. I shouldn't have read it like that, but that's how we put it.
Just send in your suggestions.
I remember suggesting a couple of weeks ago about the gloves. Can't remember what it was, but it's a couple of the ores that aren't currently working on it.
Probably you've had it a few times. People wanting to work on other ores. Like we chose those ores for a reason. Like iron doesn't really need a buff and stuff like that.
Cool.
So maybe, but probably not.
I don't want to read that name out. Is there any chance of adding instanced Puro Puro?
Instanced Puro Puro? Why? Why is it? Yeah.
How do you say it?
Are you judging how I said Puro Puro?
Puro Puro?
Puro Puro. Puro.
Perry.
Puro. Why is it shocking? It's spelled P-U-R-O.
Puro.
For the record. Okay. All right, okay.
Puro would be double R.
No.
All jokes aside, I do
Puro.
Puro? Well, it's not funny. It's just how I talk. This is just offensive. Puro.
Triggered.
Why do you want it to be instanced?
Yeah,
I need the reason.
The reason is obviously so they don't have to fight for implings, but then obviously the impling prices will crash. So,
the reasoning, they just don't want to see other players or interact with other players. So it's just instance the entire game.
Yeah.
So
the world's most solo MMORPG in the world.
Yeah, no, we're not going to instance Puro.
Right. Ace Jill asks, when running, if you bury a bone, it will make you walk. Can you fix this?
Yeah, take a look into it. Don't know if it can be fixed. I don't know what's causing it.
Cool. Noob Mafia asks, is there any chance the Gothic Balance Potion will have any use in Raids 2? It's used against vampires and expensive to make, but has 0 use at the moment.
I imagine it probably can. Sounds like a decent place for it to have a use.
What's that on the screen?
What?
The top left of the screen.
What?
What?
Is that a light? It's gone now. there it is. Well, I think it's your watch. It's your watch.
Oh, is it?
It keeps reflecting on the screen, yeah.
I'm really... Okay, sure.
I was like, is that on the stream? No, it's not. Don't worry.
Grumble16 asks, can you make the tournament worlds permanent?
As in the no safe game worlds where you log on, you got a load of supplies, set any stats.
I think we've had it kind of brought up a few times before. Like, while it is technically possible, it's kind of nice to have it as these cool events that happen. If we make them permanent, then no one's really going to want to do it when we do put them up.
We have them up.
We also have used them for other things, and obviously make them permanent, then we can't use them for anything else.
Yeah, we use them for all of February normally, and so you can play it soon during Quality of Life month. But what we saw when we last had them open for that a long time, like there's a lot of activity, people having fun on there, but as you get towards the end of the month, the server starts to die down. There's not many people playing it.
Yeah.
I don't think it would see a big hub of activity if it was up permanently.
No.
Cool. All right, well, there's only a couple of minutes left, about 5 minutes left, so get your final questions in for Modrai to pick up for us at RuneScape. We have one more suggestion that was on Reddit this week, and it is of the world map, I believe, so let's just get that up. It's to add the agility shortcut level to the world map when you hover over. So it would say, I need 15 agility to do this, or 72.
I believe it's been discussed before, and Moash has said it's possible. It's just work to do so.
It's not going to be a quick job, but I see why you want it. I see why there's a whole load of other
it's
fairy ring
something...
codes on the world map. All of this stuff is really good, but not necessarily a very quick job, because that data for the agility level requirements are not in one place. No. So across the code base, you've got all these agility interactions. They're not very well distributed either. They're not all in one place in the code base.
Yeah.
And then they all have the agility requirements hard baked into their code from when it was originally written. So we'd have to go through every single agility shortcut in the game, or use some other resource like the wiki, for example, to pull the data, put it together in one place, and then transmit that to the client so that the client can generate it off the world map. So,
and it was something that I raised during testing of the world map, as this would be a nice feature, and everyone agrees that it will be a nice feature, and we will hopefully have it at some point.
Maybe at some point we could do like a batch of world map improvements.
Yeah.
Pull a load of stuff onto there. That'll be really good for you.
That'd be a cool, Paul. I'd like that one. Arclight OSRS asks, when will there be an in-game poll for the Holy Sandals upgrade crystal?
What's that?
Holy Sandals? The prayer sandals.
But they want a better version.
I guess they want a crystal similar to the Primordials and...
When there's a good bit of content for it to go with, I guess. Yeah. We're not just going to put it in for free.
Yeah, makes sense. Haha Egged asks, will you ever remove the lady at blast mining so that clicking the sack will be easier? We can move her, I imagine.
We can move her a bit further away, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty good. The Undead Furious asks, can we get a Slayer Helm variant for the new Gargoyle bosses with the eyes? I presume the colour of the bosses. But it's already grey.
Yeah.
Just the eye change colour?
Oh.
There was a post on Reddit a few days ago of Slayer Helm recolours for all the bosses, and they'd literally list every boss. Just
I know.
Is there such thing as too many recolours?
Yeah, I mean...
When half the bosses are the same colour, yeah, there probably is.
It's also, like, every time we add in extra variants, it makes more work for any time we do any changes to anything to do with the Slayer Helm. So, I mean, if it's literally just changing the eye colour, I think it's just probably too much work for what it's worth.
Cool. New York Hawk to Cals asks, Inferno Horde mode update, please. Kira?
There's no update. It's just going to be my tap project. I haven't
You were
started.
talking about it to
I
me
know
in
I've
the
been
car
talking
the other
about
day.
it, but I've got a lot of ideas for it. I haven't started actual dev work on it yet. So it'll be a tap project. I don't believe there's been a tap day since I last spoke about it.
That's true.
So yeah.
Any ideas on what will involve?
I'm not telling anyone what it's going to involve.
A ton of Jads.
Just sprinkle one on every wave.
Yeah.
Fair enough. The law user asks, will you add an observatory shock? I believe this one came up recently.
There's a job in for that.
Yeah. We just need to get around to doing it.
Yeah, there's a job in for it, so
Okay,
it'll be done at some point.
Cool. Game Improvement asks, can you add a max total world?
Oh, it's been discussed.
I genuinely am keen to do this.
Yeah, I think we're getting to the point where it's probably...
There's enough people.
Yeah.
It warrants it if they want it. But then who's going to poll for that? That's the question. I mean, who's going to vote yes?
I think it's really cool. And one of the reasons I think it's cool is because when if we ever launch a new skill, no one will have access to it.
The first person to get onto that world.
If you get that 99 first, you've got a world to yourself, and that is really nice.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then you wouldn't need instance Puro.
Yeah.
Right, fair enough. I think that's coming to the end of the stream. I did get told to politely remind you all that Deadman Mode finale is on the 9th of December.
Yeah, I've been tweeting out some little teasers as to stuff that's happening. The new supply chest that was done by Mod Riot looks fantastic. I was thinking about maybe a little reveal if Kieran's okay with it, perhaps one of the items that the chest may contain.
Oh, we can tell them all.
Yeah?
Now?
Okay, here we go then. So,
Spicy, here we go.
These chests...
Don't helmet in order though.
No, these chests will appear in different locations across the world as the fog moves. And when you get there, you can get some really, really powerful items. So some of the stuff we're looking at is there'll be Bandos chestplate and tassets in a chest. There'll be the Armadillo chestplate and skirt in a chest. There will be the Infernal cape along with an Amulet of Fury, which is going to be pretty amazing. There will be an Elder Maul in one of them.
Remember the last two?
I'm just trying to think. I know the last one. Oh yeah, I'm saving the most amazing till last.
Yeah, that's what I was
Din's Bullock.
Bullock?
However,
I should hope you're not getting Din's Bullock.
Bullock, however you pronounce it. And the final one, and these aren't in the order necessarily that I've told you here, isn't the order they'll appear. There will be a lamp which will grant you 99 in any skill.
Is it any skill?
Any skill, like
So
if you want to
you
max
could go there
out,
and you're just like, this is the only time I'm ever going to get 99 rune crafting.
Yeah, you
this
can
is my
use
moment.
rune crafting. So yeah, you can pick your own skill, and for those who've like mentioned on Twitter, what about like where the locations, are they all multi or whatever? There's a mix. So there'll be some that are in a multi area, some that are in a single area. You'll be told where they'll be appearing. So everyone will have the chance beforehand to gather around the area before it appears, and then it will appear and everyone can fight over it. And bear in mind that these are only going to be, you know, one person that gets it.
A lot of exciting changes for the Deadman. Number 8, this is the winter 2017. It's worth keeping in mind, like you said, only one person will be able to get those chests. There's 6 chests overall, technically 7 because one appears.
Yeah, during the final fog jump, there'll be 2 of the chests because you can't, both final areas can't access the same.
A couple of people are asking, no spec weapons. Again, we didn't want it to be too powerful.
Yeah, so we discussed AGS, Dragon Claws, and they were just, you get through to them, to the 1v1s with them and start being able to spec people out. It's too powerful. These are items we wanted to generally help you get through to that knockout tournament stage. And in all honesty, it'll be really interesting to see whether or not anyone who gets the chest makes it through into the final 128.
I'm looking forward to that one person that runs to a chest, clicks on it and runs away, and just scampers off with it and nobody notices them. That's what I'm looking forward to personally. But yeah, 2 final areas, 128 person knockout mode at the end. stuff to watch throughout the entirety of the final hour. So we've got some focus every time the fog jumps. One of those loot crates appear. It's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, 9th December. It's in Leicester, ESL Studios. Make sure you watch it on Twitch. I believe that there's still tickets available.
Sold out.
Sold out now. There you go.
Missing out on that free bar, guys.
Free bar, mate.
Sucks to be you.
Right. Thank you very much for a wonderful Q&A. I really enjoyed hosting, so thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for joining us, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.